Colorado. That was unbelievable. They were 20-point underdogs against a TCU team that went to the national title game against the Georgia Bulldogs. People thought that this team was a top 5 team in some people's rankings, TCU. And then Deion Sanders goes to TCU and just absolutely embarrasses them. What were your thoughts to that game?
I will admit, first and foremost, that I was wrong about Colorado. I was skeptical. I knew that they were bringing in some talented pieces. I mean, Travis Hunter was just the #1 overall player in the entire country in his recruiting class a year before, and he just chose to go play with Deion at Jackson State anyway. And Shedeur has clearly improved. He played literally his best game ever at any level of play. Like he was just, even though he wasn't, a lot of his production was, off of like after the catch, like he made some really good throws, even some throws that like probably should have been caught that were pretty impressive downfield. And so he played out of his mind, but schematically, it's a great system for any quarterback to come in and learn because it creates a lot of space. It's a very similar system to, actually, it has similarities to what TCU runs, but it's very similar to what UT runs, Tennessee as well. It's very spread, like wide splits, a lot of easy underneath stuff. But he just made the right reads. He was just an excellent distributor. Didn't make mistakes, and TCU made a lot of them. So that adds up. Like Travis Hunter looks like he probably should be the Heisman winner this year, and so that definitely helps. Like he just does everything. How do you play 100 snaps at like the Division I level and do it at not only a D1 level, but I'm the best player on the field at all times kind of level? And so that's pretty wild to see. And so I don't think Colorado has a game as good as they just did this past weekend. I think they're going to have defensive problems, but they're going to smash their win total. Like it was dropped down to like 3.5 or something like that. And so, yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun just to watch that, just to see how that plays out. Because
well, I will say
going to take care of business at Nebraska too, because Jeff Sims is terrible, and they have no answers. Like the talent there is almost non-existent in Nebraska. So props for Matt Rule if he gets like 2 or 3 wins this year, because it's going to be pretty rough. So they probably start off 2-0, get max hyped, and then they get humbled because they have no defense at all.
Well, I will say this. If you look at a guy like Hunter next year, not this year's draft, but next year, will be a top 3 pick. There is no question.
That feels like a lock.
Yes. And Deion Sanders, he knew going and playing for Deion Sanders was going to make him a better player. Deion Sanders, arguably the greatest corner to ever play the game. He is out there. And Deion Sanders doesn't have the length and the speed what this kid has. I mean, Deion Sanders was fast, but the way the game is played and the athletic ability some of these kids have now at the position, Deion Sanders was not as athletic and big as this kid is. This kid could turn out to be one of the best corners we've seen come out of the draft in the last 20 years. So
yeah, and I do think as much as it would be fun to see him play both ways in the pros, I think more than likely at the next level he's just a really incredible shutdown corner. Maybe he returns some. Maybe they put him in for a carry here and there, whatever. But I would say he probably doesn't play 100 snaps a game.
They wouldn't let Darrelle Revis do that. Level. The Jets wouldn't let Darrelle. I mean, Darrelle Revis was a punt returner. As soon as he was drafted, they were like, "Okay, we'll play you at the punt return for a couple of times," and then they say, "You know what? We're not putting you at risk. You're too valuable. We're keeping you away from punt returning." And Deion Sanders did it for years. For Atlanta, and he did it for San Francisco. To me, you protect those players. If you think that he is a shutdown corner, look at Sauce Gardner. You think the Jets would put him as a punt returner? They'd be out of their minds doing that. I mean, that's risky.
That dude's going places, and it's rare that he really could just legit do either and find immense success at the next level. And we can probably confidently say that a game into his second season in college. Just a wild, bonkers talent. So it's going to be fun to watch. The fun freshman running back for them, Dylan Edwards, was impressive. When McCaskill comes back healthy, I'm sure he doesn't see as much work, but that he's going to be a really fun talent that is going to be that fastball to just give them some juice when they need it too. So they've got some players.
Travis,
they had a lot of,
Travis, how long do you think Deion Sanders will take the Florida Gators to offer Deion Sanders that job?
I mean, there's going to be a team that is, I guess, perceived to be a higher level that's going to offer him a job this year if he wins 5 games, and it looks like they're going to.